Thank you. Alrighty. Hi everybody, how we doing tonight? Hello Steve, hello Lynx Lady, hi Kelly, hi Lillian, hi Mellow Yellow. How is everybody doing? Hi Rich. So I hope you've all had a wonderful, golly, it's been 2 weeks since we did our last live stream, which is pretty crazy how fast the time is going by. So, why is my thing? Oh, there we go. Okay. Anyway, it has been bonkers crazy here lately. So, oh gosh, just trying to kind of re-engage with everything. Spent a lot of last week getting ready for that art fair, and it went really well. I have like a list of things that I was typing up to kind of my things that I learned or tips for an art craft fair, and I started typing those up, and I got most of the way through there, and then I kind of ran out of time, and I didn't get that pulled together. So, but we can kind of talk about that a little bit, and then like for the patrons on Patreon, I'll put together like a detailed write-up as far as what I found and why, and what changes I would make in the future when doing an outdoor art fair, especially with wood burnings. So there is that, and I'm just making sure that I got all my things here. I had to go to town today, which is a multi-hour endeavor just because we live a very long ways from town. So just got home. We've had lots of rain, which is going to be kind of a challenge for our annual firewood cutting shindig that starts tomorrow. Okay. So, hi Faye, hi Patricia, and let's see, hi Chris, hi Mellow Yellow. I said hi. Anyway, yes, you got your print. That is outstanding, and I'm so glad that you got that. I know that you asked a little while ago as far as like an update on the tracking order, and it completely got by me, and I apologize for that. So I'm really glad that it's there. I know international stuff takes a while longer. So, and Patricia, thank you so much for your gift that you sent earlier this month. I really appreciate that. It is so sweet, and thank you for your thank you note. Hi Terry. Hey Lex.
Yeah.
I need my little squishy bean thing that I made.
Oh.
Please.
Yep.
Thank you. So Terry says hello from wet Florida. Oh, you just got stuck in the rain. Oh dear. You had your dogs and you got wet. Oh dear. Yeah, we've had a lot of rain here too, which is great, but it's probably going to kill the fall colors. What happened to... No, it's there. What happened to my nice little camera here? Well, phooey guys, we have, or I have, a little technical challenge. Where is my camera? That should be here. Add. I'm trying to cook and pack and get stuff together for the firewood cutting adventures tomorrow. And I was cooking right up to the live stream. Okay, well, aren't you gonna be a pain? So there's that camera. I can't get this camera where it's supposed to be. Why is it not there? I don't know. All right, we'll just completely change up this welcome screen and we'll just make it work. So hang with me for a minute. Hey, there we go. I gotta put, there we go. All right, so now you can see everything. Sorry, that's just not working. Kelly, you got your mouse pad. Awesome, I'm so glad. Hi, hand engraving. Hi, Jim. Ah, you've got a grandson in high school football. How exciting. That's wonderful. Hello, TH. Hi, Terry. So yeah, we drug a ton of trees 2 weekends ago, and so we made great progress on that. But hopefully it will be cool this weekend and not baking hot like it certainly can be. Okay, so here we are. It's been 2 weeks since we've taken a look at this, and I'm sorry for not putting out a big response, you know, a big send out as far as our new schedule. I told you guys that we weren't going to meet last week, but I didn't have time to do a send out as far as notifying everybody that we're going to be working today. But I know that we talked about that, so. Okay, so I'm trying to get the reference photo in here. Let's really try and finish up these legs. We've got a really good start on this. It's all coming together nicely. All we got to do is finish up. Yeah, I hope Mina's going to be here too. Okay. All right, so I'm still using the Walnut Hollow Versatool with the shading point. Okay, and it is on full heat, full power for right now. And I think everything is looking okay. Just need to readjust my screen a tad bit. Okay. Alrighty. So, you guys know that I have that little funny bean bag that I always use. Well, it was raining the other day and it was downstairs because I packed it up for the art fair. And so I took a sock, a clean sock, a new sock with like no holes in it, and I filled it full of pearl barley. You know, the dried barley that you can get. You can also use rice. I went with barley because it's got rounded edges instead of the rice that has the pointy edges. So this is going to be my little wrist rest for this evening because I still forgot to go downstairs and get my normal bean bag thing. But I knew, you know, eventually it's going to die. It's getting really thin. So you can always make your own little bag. So, I'm just kind of looking at what we have going on here. And I think I want to switch this over and work on it from the other direction. Sorry guys, hang in here with me. Because I want to develop this, this shadowy area here, and I need that to be kind of a nice, crisp, hard edge. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this. And we'll work on it this way, because that's what I would do if it was just me burning anyway. I would totally switch that up. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see the reference photo and the legs. Okay. Thank you, TH. Yes, please like the video and subscribe. I have not had a time in the last month to do an impromptu live stream. But I'm hoping that after this weekend things are going to settle down a little bit. Wouldn't that be lovely? And I'll be able to do some more impromptu stuff and live streams, and you will always get notifications on the live streams. So that's good. So really just trying to work on this hard edge here to create the definition between the leg in the background that's in shadow and the leg in the foreground that's in the light. Hi Lexi. She's been my helper tonight. She's always my helper. Hi Angela. Hi Larry. And Larry, your gift was shipped today. So they say you should have it by Monday. And I am so sorry for that late send out. I have not been to town in 3 weeks. So it's just been really crazy trying to readjust to schooling here at home and getting ready for the art fair. So it's been bonkers, as I'm sure life is for most everybody. And I really appreciate everybody being here and joining in on this very fun, very challenging elephant. Okay, so now that I've got that kind of defined, let's go ahead and build up some of the darker values in these creases that are in the shadows. Now, you could just black this out if you're a little bit challenged with the shadows. I'm going to go ahead and put in some, some creases in here. Lexi, you're so fun. Lexi has a birthday coming up too at the beginning of October, so she's way excited about her birthday. Yep, and Will is here too. Glad he can be here. We're not doing pizza tonight, we're doing reruns. Trying to clean up the fridge before the big weekend. Okay, so you can really go ahead and make these creases in the shadows quite dark. So you can go ahead and take your time to build up those values. So a lot of what we're going to be doing tonight is pretty repetitive as far as what we've already done. You know, we're going to start with the creases and lay those in, and then we're going to build up their values and then make sure that we have shading. You know, as you can see, one side has more of a shadowy side and the other side has a rounded kind of a highlight. Lexi says Monday. Okay, her birthday is the 3rd of October, so I think it is a Monday. Anyway, so so do you guys want me to kind of talk about the art fair, the outdoor art fair that I attended, and some tips on that? Or do you want me to kind of mix that in with instruction, or just go complete instruction here tonight? So let me know, because I'd like to share that with you, but I don't want to just ramble on about stuff and not get to the instruction. But a lot of this is going to just be repetitive. We're really going to be working on these darker creases, and then we're going to kind of fill this area in. Hi Tina. Okay, so some of these creases I can't even really see on the reference photo. I'm just kind of throwing it out in there to create some texture. Okay, so Terry, you'd like to hear about the art fair? Okay. All right, so this next part is I'm just going to be slowly kind of building up some darker shading in this this shadow region here. Makes it, okay, cool. All right, so my first ever art fair, outdoor art fair with wood burnings and prints and all that. It went really well. I knew it was going to be a very small venue, because it's just a little sweet little podunk town, and there's just not a lot going on there. But it was like the 50th annual fair that they've done there, and so a lot of diehards and locals. The cool thing is I didn't have to travel very far to haul my stuff. So I was able to go home every night, and I didn't have to, pay for a motel, even food expenses, everything, gas, everything was really, really cheap comparatively because it was so local. So that was a great test run. And if you guys are thinking about doing outdoor art fairs, I would totally pick something simple and local and small, a smaller endeavor, because your stress levels, I think, are going to be much lower. The people that put on the event were wonderful to work with. They're like, this is like the time it should start. We're going to have live music, which didn't work well for me, but we're going to have live music until 10 at night, but you can stay there until 8 or 9. You can kind of pack up and go when you want, which was really cool because some other vendors, not really vendors, but hosts of the event, are very strict. Like, if you leave and you start packing up 20 minutes before you're allowed, they won't invite you back. So that can be stressful in the event of a problem or an illness or whatever. So smaller is better, as far as your first go of it. Get a good tent. Don't skimp on the tent. Do not skimp on the weights. My first outdoor tent experience, I took jewelry, was scary, really scary, because I didn't have adequate weight for my tent, and we were literally hanging onto the tent to keep everything from blowing away. Excuse me, which was very scary. What else? So I invested in the Pro Panels. So if you go to propanels.com, it's basically a portable wall system that you put up inside of a tent, and it allows you to hang your art on the walls like a miniature portable gallery. The Pro Panels, I saved up for years to get them. I'm not sponsored or anything, but by the time I got the panels and the little table that folds up and the hardware and everything, it was about $3,000 for all of that to be and shipped. So not quite 3,000, but that's something that you got to kind of plan for. What else? I had planned on putting up many more walls throughout the art fair, because you can get like a kit that goes in the tent for the Pro Panels, and I was positioned kind of on a slightly downgrade, and there was a big hole, and it didn't matter how hard I tried to get this leveled and everything to jive, it didn't work. And so I had to tear down half my walls and just go with basically half the display area. So I was not able to hang more artwork like I had wanted to, because I did a dry run in our downstairs, in our basement, which is flat and level, and it's nice and cool. It's not hot. It's quiet. There's no time frames. So it was a great test run, but it wasn't really in the real world. So photography, because they just glanced at it. So just having to explain to people what the art was took a little bit of time, and it was a little bit of a challenge. And then when the live music showed up, which we were front and center, so you're having some buffering problems, Terry? Okay. everything looks okay, I think, on this end. There's just like maybe a second delay that I'm seeing. It could be your local internet. Yeah, everything's pretty good on my end. Okay. Darn, on the buffering. Okay. Well, keep me posted on that. I know if you're having some weather, yeah, there's definitely some buffering from weather that is possible. Okay. Some crazy thing that I noticed the last time we had buffering problems, I went back and watched the footage and everything was fine. So weird, but if you do have problems with buffering and you miss certain sections, go ahead and watch it again afterwards and everything should be clear, at least that I saw. So yeah, the live music was brutal. It was very loud and I wound up having to yell at people, like just to converse, to try to tell them what my art is and what's going on and how I do it. So I don't think that I'll pick another event that has live music again, because it was so difficult for me to explain a complicated topic while screaming at people. I wound up losing my voice towards the end of the first night, Friday night, and I couldn't even talk. So as soon as I'd start to speak, my voice would go away. So that was a challenge. Although later in the evening that people hang out and drink alcohol, they are more likely to make purchases. So that did help, and I did make more purchases, after 5 o'clock, your happy hour, standard time. So that was good. Most everything I sold was prints. Just I did have framed prints, 8x10, and matted prints, 8x10. So the print itself was 8x10, and then it was matted to like 11x14. I sold one really big, like 18x24 inch framed and matted piece of that soldier, the newest soldier that I did. So that went to a veteran, which was super cool. He was a local. It was awesome. But everything else was a little bit smaller, and that was totally fine. I paid for my booth fee, which was only $100. I've had other booth fees, like when I took jewelry, that was $400 for the booth fee, which I made back and then some, but it was crazy. So really be careful with your booth fee. I think that if I had a bigger venue where people are there, they're not there for the live music, they're there for the booths, because there was only like 16 booths. I probably would have made more sales, but that's okay. Like I said, I went into this completely with a learning curve mentality. So yeah, the live music was, and the crazy thing is, as it starts out earlier in the afternoon, it's quieter. And then with each band, it gets louder and louder until you're just, it's almost painfully loud. So with I could sell jewelry at an event with live music. That wouldn't be that big of a problem, but something complicated like wood burning, I don't think I'll do that again. So like I said, I have a write-up of detailed do's and don'ts with your first outdoor art fair, and I will probably try to get that posted Monday on Patreon. Excuse me. So So if you're not on Patreon, go ahead and take a look at that, and I'll have some really nice in-depth information for everybody there. So that was kind of it in a nutshell. I know I'm forgetting about some of the other crazy factors. Oh, I got, me and my son got, well, my son really wanted to do it. I got convinced to participate in a wood splitting contest. So that was different. I've split wood before, but it was, you know, it was difficult under pressure. I didn't do half bad. I think I got my piece of wood. You gotta like grab it and run to the axe and set it down and chop it into 4 equal-ish pieces, and then pick up your wood and run back. And it's all timed. So I think I got mine done in like just over 30 seconds, but the winner was like 19 seconds. So she was the reigning second-year champ. How we got shanghaied into that, I don't know, but thank you, Terry. Yes, I was so thrilled to make that big soldier sail. Oh, that was another thing. Some of the larger prints that I had came matted and framed from the manufacturer, and they used like a plexiglass instead of glass. All of my frames, I used glass. The plexiglass got hit with direct sunlight for like maybe 15 minutes, and it warped the plexiglass. It made like this melted fisheye weird thing, and then there was moisture in between the print and the plexiglass, and so long story short, the plexiglass on the print is ruined. So the glass was able to withstand the heat and the sunlight just fine, but the plexiglass, that plastic, did not. I had to shield it. I was actually standing in front of these large prints in the corner of my booth with direct sun. I was baking just to try to save the you know, the subject from getting nuked. So that's something. If you the Woodburning Warrior, I love that. I love that name. So if you're doing a vendor event and you have plexiglass, keep it out of the sun. Glass should be okay. If you're putting up originals, keep them out of the sun. It doesn't matter if they're clear coated or not. Keep them out of the sun. Protect them. You know, don't let them get dented, or if they're clear coated, they can get wet. But be careful about people touching your artwork. They love to do that. They like to just feel it and pet it. So I try to give them the clear coated one for that. So back to the elephant. So this leg here has got so many crazy things going. We've got these lateral lines, and there's so many of them. That's why I'm just kind of rambling on about the art fair, is because this is all pretty repetitive. And then we've got these creases here as the elephant's leg is bending upward. But best of luck, Woodburning Warrior, to your event for sure. Rich, yes, the veteran, he was super excited. I really really hit it off with him. Just real cool conversation. Terry, do people try to talk you down on the prices like at a yard sale? Yes, they did. Like the big piece, the veteran was trying to kind of, you know, ask me to pull the price down, but I held firm because 2 reasons. I wasn't selling him the one that had gotten sun damaged. I had another one, a backup one, fortunately, in my car that was already like bubble wrapped and cardboard contained, so it was already pre-packaged for a very safe delivery, and so that's why I wound up holding on my price for that, because it was a really easy swap out, and he was going to get a really good protected piece. So I held firm on that. I only had one other person try to kind of like Jew me down with price, but it was on like a $30 piece. So Yes, Patricia. People that drink alcohol, definitely that can increase your sales. Although, make sure if you're at an art fair, don't put your stuff on a table. Or if you do, be so careful. I've had people spill full containers of beverages all across my table. Fortunately, I had jewelry, which you can wash off, but if they were original wood burnings, everything would be completely ruined, especially if they weren't clear coated. So that's why I went for the more professional setup, and I put my artwork up on the walls because people have a much harder time spilling on those walls. Definitely got to be careful with spilling. But yeah, people that drink, they tend to loosen up a little bit more and are more easily swayed as far as purchasing your product. I'm getting behind on the chat. Sorry, guys. Terry, cool for the wood splitting. Yeah, it was crazy. Oh my gosh. I've never done anything like that before. I've done, you know, demonstrations and stuff for Taekwondo, but I've never done a public wood splitting contest. That was out of my element for sure. My son, he did great. He just wouldn't give up on his log. He was awesome. Larry says, my wife is going to show her pottery at a street fair in October. She gets lots of exposure and people make offers too. Okay. So I'm just going to try and catch up here in the chat for a minute. Larry, that's great that she enjoys it. That's one thing that I really noticed that I enjoyed, even though I'm not a big people person. I loved talking about my art. I love sharing and kind of talking to people that have never seen this kind of art, kind of expose them to it. So that was really cool. I definitely like the interaction and the ability to talk about my work. So that was a big thumbs up. Yeah, Terry, I don't know, but that plexiglass, it was crazy. I think I took some pictures of that, but it was bad. The print is okay, the frame is okay, the mat is okay, but whatever plastic is used in their frame, because they're big, so they went with a lighter weight plastic, it completely nuked the plastic. And this is September, it wasn't that hot either. Okay, Wood Burning Warrior, you have an inside event, that's great. Those are much easier. Jim says too much direct sunlight, even a little, can split basswood. Wow. That is scary too. So yeah, that's why I went with prints and just displayed prints, because they're so much more forgiving and safer to travel with. And you know, if something gets stolen or damaged, you're out, you know, a much smaller amount of money than a multi-$100 original if you spend a lot of time and all that. So oh, the Wood Burning Warrior, you have leukemia. That's why you're a warrior. I am so sorry. And I applaud you in your fight, and I hope that you're getting better and that you're going to be okay. My husband had colon cancer in March of 2020, right when the pandemic hit, the lockdowns and all that. So I empathize with you supremely. You're welcome. Wow. So Wood Burning Warrior, you're saying that people scoff at your $89 price on an 8x10. Are those originals? Or are they prints? Let me know. Sorry, we'll get caught up here. So I have some of these little wrinkly things coming through here. This is not the best angle for my hand, and I know we're kind of zoomed out a little bit. This is that kind of pre-sketching stage. So maybe from from this angle, let's maybe work kind of on this shoulder area here, and we're upside down. Those are originals? Oh goodness. Pet Memorial Wood Burnings. yeah, $89 is too low for sure. And I know it's frustrating when everybody says your artwork is priced too low, because you make these amazing and wonderful pieces, and even at a low price they don't sell, and that is frustrating. But for an 8 by 10, it depends on the amount of time and the complication of the subject, but for an 8 by 10, I'm anywhere from 300 to 500 for an 8 by 10. And I know there's pricing is huge, it's crazy. There's so many different factors that go into pricing, where your demographics are, your skill level, your subject matter. I mean, it's off the charts, your supply and demand. If you consistently sell at a lower price point to the point where you can't keep up, then you should raise your prices. If you're at a lower price bracket and you're still not selling many, you might try switching demographics or changing subject matter, practicing on your skill set. It just totally depends on what you have to offer. I can take my art an hour to the west and I can't sell for what I need. Nobody will buy it because it's priced too high. I can take what I make and drive an hour to the east, and I could probably sell them all day long, and it would still be too low. So your demographics play a big part where you're trying to sell as well. But pricing is very tricky. So yeah, 89 is really low. So Mellow Yellow, your husband is battling cancer for the second time. Oh dear. I hope he's going to be okay and that he's healing. Wow. Yeah, 3 days to complete one. That's a lot though. I hope that you're able to increase your prices and find a market for sure. Pet custom orders are a little bit of a wild card. I will say personally, the most money I've ever made for like an 8 by 10 is $500 or $600 because it was a custom order. And I set my price kind of high because for all my custom orders, I have to set my prices high, because if I don't, and if I create affordable custom wood burnings for everybody, I wouldn't have time to do anything else. I would be maxed out on time. I'd have burnout. And I have done that. I would not have any time for my personal projects, my family, the homeschooling, home projects, cleaning, cooking. I wouldn't have any time for it. So I had to increase my custom order prices quite high. They're higher than my other originals for the simple fact that people usually pay more for a custom product. And they know that. They know they're going to have to pay more for a custom thing instead of a standard thing. So I only get a handful of custom orders a year that actually go through the entire process, and I make it and they pay it and all that. I only have a handful because I just do not have the time, and I wish that I could make affordable custom order beautiful stuff for everybody. I just can't because of my time frame. So that's something to keep in mind too, your scarcity factor. Because I only limit my custom orders, it's more of a scarcity, and therefore it's a little bit more, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything like that. I'm just trying to, explain why my prices are significantly higher for the custom orders. And so it's basically a supply and demand factor. So I hope that makes sense. Wow. Okay. I'm glad that you increased your prices though, Woodburning Warrior. That's good. Larry, I did get your email about making a pattern. Yes, you're starting a commission piece. I will get back with you tonight. As soon as we're done with this, Larry, I will get back with you before I start cooking again about your pattern project. So sorry. I have been the worst with responding and getting back to people lately, and I apologize. So after this, Larry, I'll make a note to do that. Where's my thing? So okay. If I don't write it down, I'm a wreck. So, okay. Hi, Hen Wildo. Did your first piece for a neighbor, burning a chest pattern, adding custom designs to fill in the space of a small table. Wow. Being new, I only asked for $80. Told my group, told I should have gotten 300. Yeah, and thank you, TH. You know, Han, it totally depends on your, like how long have you been doing your art form? How long have you been doing your craft? That really plays a big part. As a beginner, regardless of skill set, I'll kind of throw that out there carefully, you're probably gonna accept lower prices than someone that's been around for a little bit longer, just because of stability and consistency and showing people that you're not just kind of like a flash in the pan, that you're more stabilized as an artist. Yeah, so I would say as any beginning artist in any art form, like if I just went out and did a watercolor for the first time, my prices would be much lower than my original wood burnings because I'm not quite established. I'm just starting out. So as far as pricing goes, that's a big factor as well, as far as how long you've been doing your art form. So this whole area here is really in shadow, and I'm just kind of playing with it, trying to get some values laid in here. But I tell you what, oh, this elephant is a heck of a challenge, for sure. I don't think I'll be doing another elephant on live stream for quite a while, especially for the first time. It's daunting. It is definitely a daunting subject. And I find that when people are watching, my artwork suffers. I did do some live demo work at the outdoor art fair, and I struggled. I really struggled. I would wood burn the same area over a couple times, and then I would burn that same area in the wrong place, because you gotta you can't just key out your people. You can't zone them out as they're coming around. I'm a little bit not really paranoid, but I'm on guard in public, and to be surrounded by people while I've got my head down is a challenge. I keep wanting to look up and kind of assess my surroundings, and every time you do that and you look up, and then it's like trying to find your place again. It was a challenge, and I found that my artwork really suffered. And I also found that people that were watching, and that's the cool thing about why I took my tools the second day, is because people immediately understood that this was not photography, that I was doing something different that they hadn't seen before. And so it drew them in and it captured their attention. But then the people that were behind me walking around looking at prints, I wasn't available to talk to them and answer their questions. So I really wish that I had like a clone, or if my husband were able to go there, he would be great, as far as I could do the demo and then he could do some more explaining. So I found it difficult to be I needed to be in 2 places at once. And so I would kind of go back and forth, and I'd sit down and I would burn if it was quiet. And then if people would come in, I'd get up and kind of stretch and take a drink, because it was hot. I was working in the sun. And then I would converse with them for a bit, and then they would leave, and it'd get quiet, and then I'd sit down again and start wood burning again. So the live demo thing was kind of fun. Neat to see people's reactions, but I needed more of me. So yeah, Larry, thank you for your patience. I appreciate it so much. I'm a bit of a basket case right now. So Han, you've only been burning for a few months. Okay, cool. Think I saw it in a Facebook group. Okay, cool. Wow, okay. So Terry says, I only charge $275 for a 9x12 graphite drawing of a pet portrait, and people say that's too high. Very seldom do I get commissions. I'm slow, would love for a year. That would give me 3 months each. Okay, so Terry, I would say I personally would think that a $275 for a 9x12 might be a little bit low, but I don't know the marketplace values for graphite. It's more permanent than wood burning for sure. Also, you know, how many, and I don't want it to be a numbers game, but sometimes it is, you know, think about how many people follow you, the numbers, how many people engage with your content and see your work. That can make an impact as far as how many people want to pursue a commission. Because I've heard it said, like, out of 1,000 people that watch a YouTube video, only one, like 10% or less will subscribe. 10% or less of those will continue to follow. So it is a bit of a numbers game out there. And also right now, everybody is hurting for money. Everything is difficult. People are trying to pay gas and food, and unfortunately, this is one of the most challenging times, I think, as artists to sell high quality original art. And that's one reason why I've started, you know, really trying to push the prints, because people, 99% of people can't afford a $500 commission when they're trying to put food on the table, but they can eke out, they probably have $30 or $50 in their wallet for a print. That's kind of, it's just maybe an offering and a tip, Terry. So don't beat yourself up. I would hold true on your prices and keep your value there, and just keep at it, because right now art is very difficult to move. But this is a great opportunity, though, to work on your skill set. Take a look at projects that might really challenge you, that you always wanted to try but didn't have time. So work on your skill set. If you're currently unable to make an income, or just, you know what I mean, work on your skill set, keep pushing yourself, and keep at it for sure. Thank you, TH. The elephant is coming along like a train wreck. Terry, you've been drawing for 45 years. Yes, so you've probably got your skill set established. Okay, I'm just trying to catch up on the feed. Han is saying, were you nervous the first time you did a live demo? People looking over you and such. Honestly, I don't like people behind me. So like I'm doing here, I would burn the whole thing upside down. I was working on a bison that I had half completed, and that's another thing. When you're working on a demo, I would spend some time and burn half of it at home, so people walk up and they can immediately see what you're working on, and there's no, like, you know, ambiguous, Is that a nose? Is that fur? Is that a tail? What am I looking at? So if you burn half of it ahead of time at home, then you can start your demo with a lot done and they can see you develop. So my biggest challenge is I usually work on an incline, so I have had people behind me during demos before and I don't care for it. I can't engage with people, I can't talk to them. It's a very vulnerable position to be in because you've got your back to people. So I wound up just laying at a table and putting my work flat, which was difficult for me to work on. And then I just wood burned upside down, which I do a lot of times anyway. And it allowed people to take a look and see what I was doing and how I was doing it. And then I could just still, look them in the eye and converse with them. So I guess that would be probably my tips as far as doing a live demo. Unless you have one of those really cool, like, camera mirror things or whatever, that'd be cool too. Hope that answers your question, Han. Terry, you say you don't market yourself either. Okay. And you don't have the money to market. When I first got started, Facebook was awesome. It was really rocking. I didn't have to spend money to get, followers and interest and all that. It's been a few years now. They've changed their algorithms and everything is more difficult. My numbers usually go backwards consistently if I do not post regularly. And I have since refused to pay them any more money in advertising or whatnot because I just don't agree with their policies, and I don't know if that's going to get me banned, but anyway, so I used to pay advertising for Facebook because it had a great return. It was worth it. And then they changed their algorithms and they only show your feeds to a fraction of people, and it was all very frustrating. So I refused to give them any more money. Sorry, soapbox moment there. But keep at it, Terry. I would say posting as often as you can on different platforms. There's all kinds of different platforms showing up out there. So sorry, I'm just kind of cleaning up this edge here. Keep promoting yourself as much as you can. You really don't have to spend money, but Terry, you do offer prints. Very good. Okay, cool. Yeah, just keep at it for sure. Jim says, yep, times are very difficult. Everything is price-wise just really crazy right now. Ginger Artist. Hi, I just got home from running errands. Yeah, me too. Minisa says, or you're saying, I'm incredibly, thank you very much, Ginger. I'm having a challenge reading tonight. It's been a long day. Terry, you love working upside down. I do too. I'll be working upside down on something tricky like a portrait or something, and my husband will come in and he's like, how do you do that? How do you work on this upside down? But that's one of the cool things. If you just break what you're seeing down into simplified shapes and values, you can pretty much burn anything or draw anything because it's a very similar concept. So I'm starting to put in a little bit of shading here. The shading is difficult, and honestly, guys, this is such a complicated subject that when I notice I keep burning the same areas over and over again, and I know I've talked about this before, it's kind of a key to me that I need to push myself and just shove myself into the areas that I'm avoiding. So we're just going to dive right in and really try to capture the shadows, because since we're upside down, the light source is going to be coming from this way. So we're going to have like on these wrinkles, we're going to have a shaded area on the left, and it's going to kind of blend out a little bit. And then when I get into the tricky stuff, I have a hard time talking. Okay, so this is crazy. I'm trying. Angela is saying that MeWe is very good. No unwanted stuff in your feed. I only see people who are in my groups and pages that I have joined or liked. That's awesome.
Do we have pizza downstairs?
We do, but there's also potato soup. Hey, eat the soup.
Okay.
Sorry. I know you want pizza. I want pizza too. Eat the soup that I made, please. Because we're going to be, eating elsewhere for the weekend. Alrighty. No pizza tonight, darn it. Okay, so there's also that factor of having to turn off part of your brain when working versus talking. So that makes live demos kind of crazy. Hi, Rich. I think you said that once before. I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time keeping up with the chat. What were other vendors selling? So at this particular event, there were some like farmers market stuff, like some salsa and some canned goods. One vendor had. There was like a State Farm vendor trying to get customers. There was this really cool guy across the way from me who had like all kinds of, I would classify it as like gypsy stuff, gypsy bling, which was really cool. He had looked like handmade jewelry and scarves and fabrics and just all those really cool trinket things that you would see like with a gypsy or a caravan. I loved it. It was great. And he said that he did really great. It was one of his better shows. So that was really cool. There was a gal next to me who won the wood splitting contest and the pie eating contest. She was cool. And she was selling like, which side am I on? Custom t-shirts and scarves and hats with Colorado like photography on them. So that was really cool. Let's see what else. I was the only one selling like artwork. So I'm trying to get these ripples in here. These are definitely a challenge. Thanks, Angela. I appreciate it. I'm trying to go back and forth here and not sound like a crazy person. So cool. I like that Links lady. Talking about a lot of it. She says, or Links lady says, a lot of the issues that mentioned can be solved by putting your table toward the back of your booth. Also keeps you out of the sun and is more inviting to get customers into your booth. That's a good idea. I was on a corner and people kept like darting through, like kids and everything were kept running through my tent. And so I kind of put my demo table right in the way so that they could see me, like the passerbys could see me, and you know, the people pushing strollers, because there was a little sidewalk there. But I like that too, as far as getting people to come into the booth. But I was tired of everybody. These kids were crazy and they kept like darting through, and I was afraid they were gonna have a crash. But I like that idea. Ginger Artist says, do you find realism easier to achieve in pyrography? I've never been able to achieve realism until I found this medium. Yes, I definitely have had that trouble too in other art forms until I found this. And then once I kind of almost like broke the system or the code as far as values and texture. Once I got that figured out in pyrography, then I was able to finally grasp that in other mediums. Not crazily well, but definitely better than where I was, because I struggled my entire life to create realism. And I did a really good job to a point where I just was struggling. So yes, I'm right there with you, Ginger Artist. So this is easy for me. The wood burning is very easy. I have a hard time finding a challenge, except for this elephant burning live is definitely a challenge. So I try to seek out challenges that really push me as an artist, whether they're working really big or working on a complicated subject, or now doing that with a live audience is definitely way up there on the challenging scale. So, but just keep pushing yourself, and you'll learn so much more. Because like this live stream, this like multi-week live stream, I have wanted to quit on this so many times, you guys, because I get overwhelmed and I get frustrated. I'm like, I'm lost. But as long as I stay with it, and I gotta finish it for you guys, and forcing yourself to continue on something that you're struggling with is one of the greatest teachers, I think, in the whole world. So keep at it. Just keep going. I love that you guys are just chatting with each other. That's great. I like the community for sure. Larry, you say at a state fair you saw a man from Texas putting on a rattlesnake show. You'll have to elaborate on that, Larry. That's crazy. Like I could see the rattlesnakes with like little hats and balls, like juggling balls. Now that would be a rattlesnake show. It'd be insane. I don't think it was that crazy though. It'd be fun. Okay, thanks, TH. Yep, I'm trying not to quit. This is really a challenge, and I definitely know that I'm gonna have to take some time and just sit with this on like an impromptu live stream and put on some music and just toy with it and go over it for hours to get it where I want it to be. Because this is a good blocking in, but being able to activate your brain and talk while doing something like this is a huge challenge. So just zoning out with like an audiobook or music without the pressure is easier for sure. But I'm really trying to do is just as much as we can and really push this thing forward so you can see where we're going with this. So these wrinkles in here, and I might zoom in a little bit more because they're crazy. All right, so I'm gonna put this right there. But the main thing is really watching your light source. So, you know, I've got my light coming from this way because we're upside down, and there's definitely some blending in some of these ridges here that I could do. I would probably turn my burner down and make some softer folds in there, more of a transition. And if you can't add more midtones, you can always add darker areas and kind of push those back at least for sure. So thanks, Patricia. Yeah, this year's just been bonkers. And then I was sick. So the day we were actually driving home from the art fair, after my son, he's my helper, after we got everything loaded up and we're driving home, not 5 minutes in the car, I couldn't breathe. I was stuffy and miserable, and I came down with a cold immediately after the art fair. I don't think it was related, but so I've spent a better part of this week kind of in recovery mode from being sick. But other than that, homeschooling is going well, and we're having fun, so. So I'm just kind of pushing some of these values a little bit darker to help create that more rounded appearance. Thanks, Mellow Yellow. I won't quit. I'm struggling here on this one, but I'm gonna stick with it, and just shoot for those areas that I don't want to do, but I gotta do it anyway. Um, Ginger, awesome. I'm glad everybody's learning something, so that's great. Um, Terry, you're working on graphite while watching. That's great. You know, whatever kind of art source, avenue, outlet that you like. That's just wonderful. Oh, so I think I showed you guys the like the watercolor brushes that I started. Hold on just a second. Let me show you that real quick. Sorry, Toby. So I love wood burning, but I miss the color. So I have been playing with watercolor markers. Watercolors are so loose and messy, I really struggle. So these are watercolor markers that are just like a pen, but they've got water in them and all that, and they just go on like a marker, and then you can add water and blend them. So these are a lot of fun, and you can tell from my sepia tone background, I'm sticking like with just 2 colors here. So all I've done is purple, and the more you go over the purple, the darker it gets, which is really cool. Anyway, so this is fun. I kind of played with this one night. I haven't gotten back to it yet since, but anyway, those are fun. Maybe one of these days I will do a tutorial on that once I figure it out. So, yep, different art forms, a lot of fun. Angela says, I have wanted to quit on mine also, but I'm going to finish it, even it is not exactly what I pictured in the beginning. Yeah, Angela, this is a tricky one. Oh my goodness, this elephant skin. I always knew it was going to be a challenge, but this is up there. But I'm glad that you're sticking with it as well. So I'm just trying to put in a little bit of shading on some of that left-hand side. It's easy to get lost. Alrighty, so we are I'm going to zoom out a tad, and let's kind of work on that upper leg, this leg. Thanks, Lynx Lady. Yeah, sometimes it's, Lynx Lady is saying that the wrinkles are looking good. Well, thank you. I get stuck in that microscopic areas as well, and it's not until I kind of back away and take a bird's eye view that I realize that, you know, it's okay, it's coming together. So, and I think that we're often our most critical. You know, we're more critical on ourselves than we are of other people, because you have an idea in your mind as far as what you want your artwork to look like when it's done, and sometimes you just kind of have to go with the flow, and your art sometimes like dictates where it's gonna turn out. So Larry says the rattlesnake guy, he held a balloon in front of a small rattler and then provoked it. Finally, the rattler struck it and burst the balloon. Ah, so they weren't like balls, you know, juggling, but they were balloons. That's really cool. Wow. Yeah, I don't do snakes. Crazy. Thank you, TH. Thank you, Mellow Yellow. Thanks, Larry. Lillian says, I think that pyrography, besides burning the wood, also burns the technique on your brain, since you have to go slow with many strokes, repetition, not so much in painting. True. That's one thing that I've found with wood burning versus painting, you can't just pick up a blob of paint. I mean, you know, as a painter, you can pick up a giant blob of paint and cover a large area on your canvas or what other substrate you're using. But with wood burning, you can't do that. Everything is small and tiny, and you have to really just kind of spend more time. And it's almost like a more intimate kind of relationship where you have to cover each and every part of the wood in a very slow and deliberate manner. So, all right, so I'm just kind of throwing down a little bit of value and developing some stuff here on this side, and there's so many wrinkles. Lots and lots of wrinkles. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm gonna kind of sketch in some of these little crossing over lines, and then I might flip this right side up and let's take a look at it then. Hey guys! Yeah? Would you shut that door? It's getting real cold. Thank you. Did you put the pasta in the fridge? Yes. Awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you, Larry. Okay, so let's turn this right side up and take a look at it from a different perspective. Okay. Alrighty, and I will move that camera in just a second so everybody can see a little bit better. I would really like to get these legs done today. I'm gonna try. So anything down here near the grass, I'm gonna kind of stay away from and avoid. There we go. Okay. Ginger's artist says, easy to get lost. I always wonder if I'm alone in feeling like that. Oh no, definitely not. That's why, like I have videos out there where I've got my finger here as I'm wood burning, and people have asked, am I like, you know, feeling the wood to kind of copy? It almost looks like I'm copying it by finger like this, but I'm not. It's just I'm trying to keep track of which wrinkle I'm on or which clump of fur, and it helps for sure. It helps me anyway. Okay, Rich is asking, are wrinkles more challenging than fur? Fur definitely has its own challenge because it can be really repetitive. Whereas, I don't know, I would say so far wrinkles are more challenging than fur, simply because, at least elephant wrinkles. Clothing wrinkles, I love wood burning clothing wrinkles. It's one of my favorite things ever. I like the texture and the flowing fabric. It's great. But something so tiny like this is definitely one of the more challenging textures that I have attempted so far. So I would say that elephant wrinkles are significantly more challenging than fur. Again, I have more experience with fur, so that's my 2 cents. Okay, Patricia, you had a question about if markers were as good as working with acrylic paint. So far, I'm really preferring these watercolor markers over anything that I've tried because, you know, anytime you have paint on a paintbrush, you got to pick up the paint, you got to make sure it's the right texture and the consistency. And then you got to get the right size brush, and then you got to like make sure that you have enough paint on the paintbrush to go down, but then as soon as you make a stroke, you got to reload the paintbrush. So I'm really struggling with painting, but these markers are really cool. You don't have to go back and dunk and get more paint. And If you want a thin line, you just use the tip. If you want a thicker line, you press harder. And then you can go back over and blend everything with water. And they have you can use a paintbrush, or this is like another one of the tiny pens with a water reservoir. And so you can just softly blend with this. You have to squeeze it a little bit to get the water out. But anyway, I'm really enjoying that more so than the other painting forms that I've tried so far. Okay, so we've got some wrinkles coming back over this way. And I'm putting them in kind of light for now because we can always build on them. At this point, I can't see my guidelines anymore, so I'm just kind of freehanding this, but we'll just see what we can do. Thank you, Ginger Artist. It's getting there. Terry, you keep getting disconnected. Go ahead, when this is over, you might try and re-watch it again and see if that might help. Again, I'm only seeing like a small second or two delay on my end. And that's why I try to leave this feed up overnight at the minimum. So people that were watching, if they had troubles, they can watch it over again before I post it onto Patreon. Jim says, I like the detail and realism of pyrography, even though in my carving I enjoy everything from the realism of birds and the detail of chip carving to the openness of caricature carving. That's cool. I struggle with the three-dimensional subjects, like carving. That's how I got started in wood burning, was I was trying to carve and it was really, really bad. So I thought if I burnt over it, it might look better, and it didn't. But I fell in love with the possibility of wood burning. So I'm going to darken up a few of these wrinkles here, and then I'm going to add just kind of some subtle soft shading over the leg to try to make up time. Thank you, Larry. Yeah, we'll zoom out again and take another look at the elephant here in a bit. So, oh, so Terry, you just saw the purple leopard. Yes, those are watercolor brushes. I chose purple because I love the contrast of purple and yellow, and I knew that I wanted yellow eyes on that leopard. So I'm working with watercolor brushes, basically sepia, not really sepia tone, but like monochromatic, because I'm used to working with one color, one hue, and then just adjusting the value, the lightness and the darkness. That I thought that would be a good starting opportunity to learn the brushes. Okay, so we have kind of this crisscross pattern. Now you might notice that my lines are not parallel. They are going to get closer together here, and as they come across the wider part of the leg, they're going to widen out a little bit. So think about like a net, like a net like this of a network of these lines, and once you bend them, they're going to flare out. So you can see that they're not exactly parallel all the way. So I hope that that's going to make a fuller, more wider appearance right in here, whereas those wrinkles start to curve around the back side of the leg here, and here they're going to get closer together. I hope that makes sense. Ginger Artist says, are you going to do the background details or just shade it all in dark? I hate busy backgrounds. I do too, because they're very time consuming to create. So I will do a black background, but then the elephant has to be walking in grass, so I have to burn the grass. So that's going to be an added challenge of where the black background meets the grass. There's going to be a lot of negative space burning, and it's going to be a fun challenge. So that's what we'll probably work on next week. And yeah, I don't see any reason why we cannot have a live stream next week. So same time, same place next week. So I'm just going to put in just some light shading here to kind of fill this in. I do need some more highlights in these wrinkles, but that's okay. Just trying to make some progress. So that's the cool thing about the lighter values, the lighter midtones. You can really cover a lot of ground when it comes to filling those in. It's your darker values that tend to take more time. And this side of the leg, it needs to be a little bit darker and it needs tweaked, but we're getting there. Just checking up on the chat. Cool, yeah, go for those watercolor markers, Patricia. So Angela, you had to log out or close it out and come back in. Okay, oh dear. Okay. Thank you, Patricia. Patricia is asking, are those the brushes or markers? They're basically both. So it acts like a marker and it's preloaded with watercolor ink. So you can do really fine details, or you can lay that flat and get kind of a nice swipey thing, which is cool. And then, I'm going to move elephant really quick. And then you can kind of go back over with the watercolor, the pen with just water. And you can soften that up and blend it and make it bleed and all that. So, a little quick impromptu thing on the markers. Where'd my board go? Okay. Okay, so this leg is blocked in okay. Let's really try to get this guy done before 8. And then we'll dive into the background and the foreground. Okay, so I know you've been lagging a little bit on the weather, Terry, so I hope that and Patricia, I hope that comes through. What brand are the markers? They're like all vowels, except for an H. Right here. Oh, hoo-hoo. Watercolor brush pen set. And so there's like 2 rows of them in there. Anyway. I think I got them on Amazon. So there you go. Okie dokie. So we're going to add just a little bit of a, looks like there's some reverse shadows in here from reflected light. So some of these shadows are going to be on the opposite side, which is kind of crazy. But I really want to try to get these legs done today. Yeah, they are watercolor markers. They're called watercolor brush pens. Ginger Artist says, I love the watercolor brushes that you add water to. When I go hiking, I already have water for drinking, so I take one brush and a travel set of watercolor paints. That's really cool. Yeah, they're very flexible. I love that you can just like get them out and use them and then put them away without all the mess and challenges of watercolors. Although I will say that with those watercolor brush pens, it's a little bit of a challenge to fill in large backgrounds or do some pre-work. You know how you like to lay down some color before you get into your details. So in that case, you could definitely use just your standard watercolor paints and brushes to block in the majority, and then go back in with the markers and to do all the fine-tuning stuff for sure. So we're just putting in some shading. Terry, those markers are pre-filled. I don't know how long they're gonna last. I don't know. Yes, yeah, Terry, we'll shoot for next week again. So I'm just kind of darkening up some of these wrinkles, making sure that I have my shadows on the bottom side, so that's going to be like my right hand side on the screen. So there's a little bit of it, this is all kind of in shadow here. So I'm just going to put down some side shading. And then we can darken up those wrinkles later. But let's really try to block in this leg and then do some finish work on it later. Everything's really dark in here, so. TH says, my daughter loves those markers. She's always saying, Mom, you would love these. Not my cup of tea. Gotcha. So my daughter, she's 8. Well, she's almost 8. And she loves the watercolor markers as well. Of course, she likes all of my art supplies. And, you know, I try to teach her to take good care of them and to use them with caution and caring, and don't abuse them, because she's young and loses her head sometimes. But I've been teaching her those watercolor markers as well, because it's a safe art form. I can't teach her wood burning yet. Soon though, she's excited to try it. But yeah, she's really enjoying that too. And I love, my daughter has a sketchbook, and she'll go ahead and every time she adds a new picture, she has to show me the entire sketchbook from the start to the finish. I can relate, because I used to have sketchbooks all the time. I would do the same thing. Jim says that looks about like the WC brush pens that I got from Amazon, and I did like them too. They had some good paper practice projects in the kit. Cool. Jim also says, I use the water brush pens, blending pens from the set to blend your colored pencils, and that worked well too. Cool. Angela says, I'm not much into watercolor painting, but I did a watercolor pencil painting and enjoyed the process. It was very different from the pens. Cool. Very cool. So I'm just kind of building up some of these real dark shadows here. Yes, Angela, my daughter definitely has the artist bug. Okay, so it's 7:30. Let's zoom out and just kind of take a brief look here at our Oliphant. I can't zoom out enough. Okay, well, there's most of him. Okay, so I have a gift, a goodie gift giveaway again tonight. So this is open for everybody, and my question tonight is, what is your favorite book? And it can be, you know, I'm really looking for like art books, business books, but it can be any book that has had an impact in your life. Go ahead and throw in the comment section if what is your favorite book. Now, the cool thing is I got stickers. So tonight's giveaway is either going to be stickers, and these are like, oops, what is that? Like 3.5 by, I don't know, maybe 2.5, and I will let you pick any of my projects. So I've got the soldier, and I've got Lynx kitties and all that. So owls. So I got a nice selection. So you'll get 2 stickers in tonight's giveaway. Again, the giveaway is open for anybody. If you are a patron, go ahead and you can say, yes, I am a patron. But regardless, the giveaway tonight is for anybody, and no limits on where you live. So the winner, I'll contact you, and you can tell me what your favorite is as far as projects. So again, lots of stickers. You get 2 stickers, so one for you, one for a friend. And I'm just curious, what is your favorite book? Again, specifically like business or art, but any kind of growth or self-help or anything cool, anything that has had an impact in your life, throw it in the chat. Knowledge is power, and I think the more that we can share, I'm always looking for new stuff to listen to as well, so go ahead and put in your favorite book. If you don't have a favorite book, favorite story, something like that. Okay. All right, and while you're doing that, I will continue to, we'll keep that out. We'll take a look at Mr. Elephant. Mr., Mrs., I don't know. So, and I'll just kind of really try to finish up this leg while you guys are thinking about your favorite book. Cool, okay. So I can go ahead and start making some of these shadows just a little bit darker. It's definitely darker at the top. One moment, please. Hold on. I'll be right back. I've got somebody at the door. Be right back.
So sorry, the grocery stores, I didn't have the scoops. So I got the Fritos. That's the most scoopy thing I can find.
Okay,
so
that'll be great. Awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah, and should we meet you guys here then? On 8:39
Yeah.
or so? Okay.
That'd be great. All right, see you in the morning. Thank you. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Where'd my headphones go? Okay. Alrighty. So Ginger says the power of now is my top spiritually healing type of book. Very great. TH says that's a tough question. I have several books that I love. To Selena with Love by Chris Perez. Wow, awesome. Lillian, my favorite books were Roz Stahlkup's decorative painting books right now into 9 stones and crystals. Cool. Ah, Angela, Where the Sidewalk Ends. I enjoyed that growing up as well. Cool. I'm loving everybody's feedback in here. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and finish this up. Try to anyway. and you guys keep putting in your thoughts. Okay, so I'm just putting a little bit of side shading here on some of these crazy wrinkles. Pretty much on the bottom side. Loving everybody's books. So yeah, make sure that everybody goes through and reads through the comments section and take a look. Make notes if you need to on these books. Anything that's had a great impact in your life is really, really cool. There's a lot of business books out there that are great. As far as a single book that I think has probably made an impact in my life more so than anything would be Imagine Heaven. I forget, his name was John. Anyway, I forget the name of the author, but Imagine Heaven is probably up there with the top of my list of books. Okay, so just kind of building up some of those values, and then we've got these crazy swoopy lines in here. This is great, you guys. Thank you so much for putting in your favorite book. Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I know like a lot of people are wanting to read something again or something new, but it's hard to know what's good and what other people might recommend. So this is great, guys. Okay, so the wrinkles in here on this leg definitely need to be darkened up a bit. So the wrinkles also get like skinnier as they curve into the light, and then as they curve back into the darker shadow side, they get a little bit thicker, which is pretty cool. And mine are pretty consistent and even right here, so I'm going to mess it up just a little bit to make it look more realistic. A lot of times we see patterns in nature, but they're not like these wrinkles aren't perfect. We don't want them to be perfectly separated or parallel. So by adding some irregularities in nature, sometimes it can make it look more natural, which is kind of funny, but so I think that helped for a bit. Alrighty. Larry, am I still on my highest heat setting? Yes, I am. Awesome. I love that you guys are talking about that. Okay. So let's see. So I'm going to go with Angela Sherman tonight as the winner for our giveaway. So thank you, Angela. And thank you everybody for your input. Um, I wish I could give everybody something like every week. That'd make me so happy. But it's not very practical. So, congratulations, Angela Sherman. Um, love it. I'll get with you and we'll talk as far as what stickers you would like, and we'll kind of go from there. Awesome. So yes, feel free guys to go back through the chat and take notes on the books that everybody recommended. Yes, congratulations, Angela. Awesome. And like I said, I try to mix it up as far as the giveaways. And if you haven't joined on Patreon yet, please go ahead and consider that. It's just like you can join for $5 a month, $10 a month. I even put in newer tiers like 15 and 20, I think. So anyway, if you're not there, please consider, you know, even the $5 a month. You get the patterns for the projects that we're working on. You also get access to that. There's a Facebook group, Minisa Robinson's Patreon group, and so you can converse more with each other and share your artwork and all that. And at like $5 a month, that's like, you know, a coffee a month. So it's not very much, but I really, really, really appreciate it, and it allows me to continue putting out the live streams free of charge, which I know times are difficult right now and everybody is struggling. So I do my very best to get out as much content as inexpensive or free as possible, because I like to try to help people. So anyway, there's my little plug. So we've got about 15 minutes. I'm just gonna kind of keep tweaking this, but the wrinkles are looking okay. I can see I've got like some really bright highlights in here that shouldn't be, that are the shadows. So I can kind of go back over and darken all of these up a little bit and push them back just a little bit and soften them up. And that's the crazy thing when you're wood burning something complex, or even something that's not complex. It's easy to get kind of in the kind of tunnel vision on what you're working on. And you're like, oh, when you're burning this tiny section, you think you've got your values right and everything looks good. And then you move on to a new area. And then once all your little tiny sections are filled in, it's important to step back and take a look at what you've done and how do the different zones work with each other. So that's important as well. So a lot of times, once I'm done with a wood burning, I will go back over and reburn a lot of the areas again, just to balance out light areas versus dark areas, and to make sure that everything kind of jives and creates a well-rounded end result that works together. So that's awesome. Thank you, Angela. I'm glad that you like Patreon too. I know you've been way up there as far as a huge supporter over the years too. Much appreciated. And Angela, I know that my husband would want you to know that he's recently had his updated scans and CT scans and tests, and everything looks great as far as his colon cancer. And instead of having tests every 6 months, they're going to have tests every year. So, or it was like every 3 months. So now it's like 6 months to a year. So very great. It's the best news for our family in years. Everything's very healthy, and it seems like my husband is doing much better from his cancer diagnosis. So. Okay, so that's helping a little bit. That's pushing some of those darker values back. I still want to get a little bit darker shading kind of in this zone here. Oh, you can't see that, but this shadow behind the ear needs to pull out and kind of soften just a little bit. So, thanks. Yeah, Larry, definitely take a step back, and getting away from your subject is really, really important. Take a step back, and you can even sit with it for a bit. Leave it on the shelf, walk past it a few times. I think a lot of times as wood burning artists, everything takes so much time. We just want to kind of rush to finish it up. And that's where I would say, like the go for the gold zone is when you're done and you think you're done, always look for a range of improvement. And then after you kind of sit with it for a while and you've made tweaks and adjustments, and it's like you really can't find any other places to improve, you know, maybe it's time to let it go. Although there is a fine line about artwork is never done. You just find a good place to stop. And that's what my dad told me. Your art will never be done. So do the best you can and then find a good place to stop. Because I know there can be a fine line between working it and then reworking it and then making mistakes. So I've done that too. I've pushed things too far, and then, yeah, it's kind of hard to undo. Sorry, I hope that made sense. I'm kind of rambling here a little bit. That's a better shadow. I like pulling this darkness down a little bit. This shadow right here is very harsh because of the light coming from the elephant's ear. So even though that's a really harsh shadow, that's what I'm seeing in the reference photo, and I think it's okay. We can just kind of go with that. Thank you guys. Yes, that was wonderful news. Lillian, have you ever tried looking at your piece through a mirror? Yes, all the time. Absolutely. Hold your piece in front of a mirror and flip that image. It's really good. Thank you, TH. Very good. Thank you, Ginger Artist. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Patricia. Yes. Really, really appreciate it, guys. So this whole area in here could be a little bit darker, but we're doing pretty well. And you can just pull that darkness down, pull those shadows down. Now that we have the structure in there, it's you've got some sort of structure in the shadows, which is really, really good. But I think we did a good job blocking in these legs. I wasn't sure if we would quite get there. I would probably say we need to darken up here and darken up some of these areas in here. But overall, we actually were able to block in the legs, which was really cool. So next week, we are going to woodburn grass and finish up the black background, and then the trickiest thing is where we need to tie in the black background to the grass. So there's kind of a blending stage in there that can be a little bit tricky, where you have to burn around the grass. So wood burning is a lot like, you know, there's a lot of negative space burning when it comes to grass. So we're going to have to establish the grass pattern and then wood burn the black background around the grass and then fill in the grass texture down below. So that's going to be lots of layers and lots of fun. And then we will, once we get the grass texture in, then we'll go ahead and tie the grass into the trunk and the feet. So there's a few different stages of blending in there, if that makes sense. So But we can just darken up some of these creases. So I guess at this point, are there any questions as far as what we've covered today? I know at this point the wrinkles are getting probably a bit repetitive, but there are so many wrinkles. So establishing the flow of the wrinkles with lighter values like this, and then kind of darken them up as you go. Then build up some of your soft side shading, and then we can kind of come across and do some mid shading is what we're after. We also want the light source. So like on these wrinkles, you're going to have a strong light source on one side, like this side, and then it's going to roll over and it's going to shade into that dark crease, and then it's going to repeat. So think of them like hills and valleys as you would burn in those areas. Again, hope that makes sense. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you guys, everybody, for being here tonight. Yes, the grass is crazy, a lot of texture. It's pretty cool. It's somewhat similar to fur with the layering and the texture and all that, but it's a lot of fun. Ginger Artist says, what did you use to burn the black background you have now? Same thing I'm using now. It's the shading point with the Walnut Hollow Creative Versatool. And I know this is part 5 already of this series, so the other parts are on Patreon. So you can go back and start at Patreon, start at the beginning. And like I said, Patreon is like beginning at $5 a month. And you don't have to sign up for a long time. I mean, you can sign up just for a month or whatever. So I hope that helps. Awesome. Thank you, Patricia. I'm so glad everybody could join in. Again, I do think that this elephant has a lot of fine-tuning. There's a lot more definition I would like to create in the wrinkles. But overall, I think we're looking pretty well. I wish I could make this zoom out farther. Hey, let me try this. Hey, there we go. A little bit. All right, so I've zoomed out a little bit more so you can actually see more of the elephant. And once you get away from it, the wrinkles start flowing and they start looking better. I also want to do some more touch-up work in here and just kind of elaborate on what we've got. But so far we have a really good, I think, base structure for Mr. Elephant to where we can kind of continue on. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Larry. So glad everybody could be here. And I'm going to really try to do my best to do better as far as putting out announcements and letting people know. I know you guys are like the hardcore, diehard fans here, and I so appreciate you guys. And if you want to share and let people know about the live streams each week, that'd be great. That's, like I said, something I'm going to try to do much better on as far as putting out announcements and letting people know ahead of time. Now that I'm home and the art fair is over, hopefully we can kind of settle in and just move forward. Thank you, Ginger Artist. Yes, this is a really cool community, and I love that you guys are kind of chatting with each other. That's awesome. Also, if you are on Patreon, then you can also access that Facebook page where you can share your art and have more fun conversing with the community, for sure. I know we're starting out kind of small, but I'd love to see it grow into something really big. Thank you, Mellow Yellow. Thank you, Lillian. Really appreciate it, guys. This takes the cake as the most challenging subject. to date, at least live. The train with the big plume of smoke, that was way up there too. As far as the first time that I tried train smoke, that was tricky. It's easier now, but this is definitely one of the harder subjects to do. So. Angela, you have your alarm set every Friday. That's awesome. I love it. Jim says, I've really learned a lot about shading. I now see things that I never really previously noticed. That's awesome. Kind of a different awareness. It's really cool. Thanks, Mellow Yellow. Thanks, Barbara. So glad you can make it. Yes, Larry, we all need challenges. That's how we grow, for sure. Cool. I appreciate that, Jim. Yes, if you guys want to share or let people know of the live streams, that would be much appreciated. Thanks for joining, Steve. Lillian is asking, are you going to post your finished piece on Facebook? I will, yes. When this is all done, I'll go ahead and throw that out there. And I don't think I've posted any work in progress photos yet, but that's okay. And that's the cool thing about the videos, you know, we can go back and take kind of still shots and revisit some of the steps along the way. Awesome. All right, well, thanks everybody so much for joining in. I have a lot of cooking to do yet tonight, so I'm probably gonna kind of wrap things up. I know we still have a minute left to go, but a lot of chopping and cooking. So I'm making a black bean salsa and then a pasta salad for the weekend. It's kind of my thing that I do. It's my uncle's recipe, is the black bean salsa, so it'll be fun. And a lot of firewood is gonna go flying tomorrow, so wish me luck. And everybody have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And thanks again for joining.